and welcome to my channel. Since it is almost the end of the year, I kind of wanted to reflect on the past 12 months and go back through and think about all the media that came out this year and kind of talk about what has been my favorites of the year. So favorite books, favorite movies, favorite TV shows, favorite concerts I've been to, that kind of thing. I decided that I would keep it simple and just do like top 3, though some of these aren't actually in any specific order. Some of them are just like the top 3 and they're interchangeable. Some of them though are kind of ranked, but I'll let you know which ones are, obviously. But I think this is a pretty self-explanatory idea, so let's get right into it. The first category of my favorites from 2024 is going to be music or albums that came out this year. This is one of those categories that is in a specific ranking, so I'm going to start with number 3 and then go up. My third favorite album of this year is Found Heaven by Conan Gray. I'll be the first to admit, I did not love this album when I first heard it, but after seeing it live and hearing it live and just listening to it more, I've become absolutely obsessed and I love this album. I just think it's such a fun direction for Conan to go in, and I think it fits his whole personality and vibe very well. So I absolutely love this album. I think my top 3 songs from this album are, in no particular order, Found Heaven, Boys and Girls, and Fainted Love. I love Fainted Love. At number 2 for my favorite albums of the year, we have Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. I have been a huge fan of Billie Eilish since Ocean Eyes, so anytime she comes out with new music, I am there and I'm obsessed and I love it. But this album was truly so special and just so well done, so well produced. She sounds amazing. The cover art is beautiful. I wish that I could see this live, but she's not coming to my state, and I don't really travel that much for concerts, at least not as of right now. But maybe she'll do a second leg and she'll come back. Who knows? I think my top 3 from this album are Wildflower, The Diner, and Lunch. And my top album of 2024, which no one is going to be surprised to hear, is none other than Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. This album is so good, and when I say there are no skips on this album, I mean that. I'm so glad that this body of work is the one that people are really starting to get to know her by, because it's honestly an amazing album. And while I wish people had given her more attention during the Emails I Can't Send era, this is a great publicity album. It's so good. It's pop perfection. I'm obsessed with it. My top 3 from this album is probably Good Graces, Sharpest Tool, and Lie to Girls. The next category that I have is my top 3 movies of 2024. This actually isn't one of those categories that's ranked, so they're kind of interchangeable depending on what mood I'm in. Number 3 is We Live in Time. It's about these two people's love story, how they met, how they fell in love, how they deal with trials and tribulations that life throws at them. They have a kid, she gets cancer, she wants to become a chef, all these different things, and it's just so beautiful and just such a good movie. And it's really sad at times, but it's just so beautiful, and I would highly recommend it. Number 2 is Wicked, and hear me out. I know that some people might be a little shocked to hear that Wicked is my number 2, because if you didn't know, I was a huge theater kid in high school and absolutely love the show Wicked. I love it so much. And I think that Cynthia and Ariana did such an amazing job. I think the entire cast did amazing throughout that production. But the fact that it's only the first half of the story is kind of why it's not my top movie of the year or why it's not my favorite. But the songs were absolutely amazing and they totally did them justice. I am so happy with like the way the movie turned out. I remember hearing people say that they were like crying throughout the entire movie, and I was like, people are so dramatic, like it's not that serious, like I'm gonna be fine. And then I went in, and I'm not even joking, 10 seconds in, full face sobbing. Like before the music had even really started. It was just Glinda talking, and I was like, oh, I'm crying. Okay, awesome. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, this should not shock you, but my #1 movie of this year is Twisters. Now, I'm gonna defend myself because I actually have a friend, a close friend, who anytime I bring up this movie says, oh, you only like it because Glen Powell's in it. You only watch it because Glen Powell's in it. And you know what? Fine. The first time that I went to see it in the movie theater was entirely because Glen Powell was in it. I was not interested in anything else. But the thing is, I came out of that movie completely changed in some really weird way, because I went into that movie just expecting to watch it for Glen Powell, and then I left completely obsessed with this movie. And I don't know how to explain it unless you watch it, but Daisy Edgar Jones' character, Kate, was just so real, and I don't know, there was just something about the way she brought that character to life that was so moving and so touching. And the whole storyline of her overcoming this like huge fear and like this trauma was just so beautiful. And the soundtrack was amazing. I mean, I literally have it on vinyl. I'm kind of sick and tired of people telling me that the only reason I like that movie is because there are attractive people in it. Because while that helps, it's not the only reason, and it's honestly starting to piss me off. But I'm going to move on to the next category before I get upset. So the next category is my favorite books of 2024. This is another one of those categories that isn't really ranked by like favorites, like a top 3 like in an order. So I'm just gonna start listing them off. One of my top 3 books this year is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I think this book was absolutely sensational. It was like nothing that I've ever read before, and I think the trope was so sweet and so cute. I don't know, the concept of 2 people dating each other because whoever they date goes on to find the love of their life next, and then them falling in love with each other, I loved it. I will say, miscommunication in this one, which really sucks, but I guess I can't say I'm too shocked because apparently Abby Jimenez loves to do the miscommunication trope. But that's beside the point. This was just such a good, like, summary read, and I loved it so much. The main characters were so lovable. Next up, we have The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Now, Holly Jackson is probably one of my favorite authors at the moment. I absolutely love her. And this book was genuinely so interesting. And it's, again, one of those books where I haven't really read a concept like this before. I was constantly surprised, which if you know me, you know that I hate being able to call out, like, what's gonna happen. I love being completely blindsided. Well, not completely blindsided. You know what I mean. Like, I love to be surprised when it comes to, like, mystery books. And this one always kept me on my toes, no matter what. I remember that the week this book was coming out, I would not shut up about it because the day of the release, I couldn't go and get it. I think I had to wait 2 days, but I was just constantly talking about this. I could not shut up about how excited I was, and it totally lived up to my expectations. And the last book on my top 3 of 2024 is Daydream by Hannah Grace. I have always loved the Maple Hills series, and I think Haley and Henry's story is just so sweet. I love a little Tudor, like, plot line, and I think it was just so sweet and so cute, and Haley is a Swiftie. She's wearing the Taylor Swift cardigan. I mean, how am I supposed to not love her, right? But I genuinely think that they are probably the, like, most wholesome couple in this entire series, and I really think that this series needed a wholesome couple. And also, to the people that, like, freak out whenever Hannah Grace's icebreaker is brought up. I think that her writing has significantly improved and that it's not just constantly smut scenes or spicy scenes, if that makes you any more interested in reading this book. The next category I have is my top 3 shows of 2024. This is one of those categories that is definitely ranked in a specific order, by the way. Coming in at the number 3 spot, I kind of forgot about this show, that it actually even came out this year, until I randomly listened to one of the songs from it the other day. But my number 3 is Has Been Hotel. I remember being absolutely obsessed with this show when it was first coming out, and I love a show that releases like one episode at a time. I love that because it has just such a nostalgic feeling for me, because that's what I grew up on. Also, where some people kind of get thrown off or like appalled by animation, I'm actually 10 times more intrigued, because I think that you can do so much more with animation than you can with live action stuff. So I will always stand behind animation and support it and love it forever. The concept of the series is just so intriguing, like that these people that went to hell and have lived in hell ever since they died can get to heaven somehow is just so interesting and cool, and I am so excited for season 2 whenever that comes out, hopefully soon. And it was a musical. I mean, what more can I ask for? Literally, what more can I ask for? I loved it so much. And as a matter of fact, I'm getting so excited just thinking about it that I might have to watch it again soon. Coming in at number 2, I actually have a series that has been out for a while, but a new season dropped this year, and that would be Heartstopper Season 3. I love Heartstopper so much. I think it's just genuinely such a great show, and it has such a good like feeling and vibe with it that you can't not like it, truthfully. This season they tackled a lot more serious topics, and I think that it's super important for this type of show, you know, the one that's constantly showing joy and happiness, to also talk about those moments of sadness. And I think they did it in such a intelligent and intellectual way, and I loved it so much, truthfully. I've never personally read the comics, so I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I don't know if I should be scared for the next season, but I am very excited to see what happens in Nick and Charlie's story and all of their friends as well. And last but not least, coming in at the number 1 spot is Arcane Season 2. I absolutely love this show, and when it was announced that season 2 was coming out this year, I was so ready, so excited for this to drop. Everyone that comes together on this project, the voice actors, the animators, like the producers, they just absolutely killed it. It was so good. It was obviously so devastating, but it was also just so beautiful. I mean, I don't want to say too much because technically it did come out pretty recently, but it was just so well done, and everything felt so well tied together despite the fact that it was sad at some points. It just felt so perfect and right. And like all the loose ends were tied up, or maybe not all the loose ends, but everything that needed to be tied up was in a perfect little bow. I also cannot get over the fight scenes from this season. So incredible, so amazing. I don't know. This series and the animation style is just so beautiful, and I love it so much. The last ranking that I have for this video is my top 3 concerts of 2024. Now, I actually only went to 3 concerts this year, so this one is definitely ranked in a specific order. At number 3, we have Chapel Roan. Now, this one might come as a shock to some people because if you know me, you know that I absolutely love Chapel and her music, and I would not shut up about her concert for like 2 weeks after I went. However, technically speaking, I didn't go to her concert. I watched it from like a distance, which I think still counted, and I still had a great time. But I think that like standing on a parking lot deck and being in the venue are two very different things, obviously. But again, don't get me wrong, I had the best time ever. I think The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess was like made to be performed live, and it is such a good album, truthfully. And Chapel is just such a performer, like, truthfully. She's so good at singing and dancing and moving around and like engaging with the audience, and I think she is just such an incredible performer. Coming in at number 2 is Conan Gray on the Found Heaven tour. Like I said earlier when I was talking about his album, originally when I listened to it, it was honestly not my favorite thing, but hearing it live completely changed it for me. Like, songs that I had originally not been all that interested in, literally one of the songs that I had as my top 3, Boys and Girls, was not really my favorite until I saw him perform it live, and I was like, this song is amazing and it's so good. And even now when I listen to it, not the live version, I'm like, this is such an incredible song and I love it so much. Hearing Conan's discography live was truly such an amazing experience, such a roller coaster of emotions, but such an amazing experience nonetheless. I also absolutely loved my outfit that I wore to Conan Gray because it was like the perfect outfit that you could just throw on your tour merch over top, and it was so nice and so comfortable and just so fun. And my number 1 concert of this year was Madison Beer on the Spinnin' tour. For Madison Beer, it was a much smaller venue than Chapel or Conan, and I think that really added to the experience. I also had one of the VIP passes, so we got to talk to her and like ask questions and hang out a little bit before the concert, which was genuinely so fun and so cool. It was also the week of my birthday, which I really think amplified the whole experience. I think that made it like 10 times more enjoyable. I just love her and her music so much. She was actually my second most listened to artist on Spotify Wrapped this year, which I think is completely accurate because I listened to Silence Between Songs so much this year. And even Life Support, her first album, I just love Madison Beer so much. I think she has an incredible voice and is such an amazing storyteller. I just love her, and I had such a good time at her concert. But with that being said, that is all for my 2024 favorites. I would love to hear what your top albums or books or concerts or any other things were of 2024 in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!